Marriage is hard. We all know it, the numbers confirm it. And when it begins to crack, we blame each other. But what if the problem wasn't the person you married, but the very structure of marriage itself? Today, let's take that structure apart and see what it was really designed to do. Marriage is strange, something so sacred, yet something so difficult. Sometimes I genuinely wonder what the creator was thinking when this idea was approved. Because let's be honest, if people entered marriage with complete clarity and rational thinking, the human race might not have survived beyond 2 generations. Instead, it starts with romance, butterflies, late night conversations, promises of happily ever after. Nature is smart. It gives us just enough magic to say yes. I once read a line in a book that said, by the time the honeymoon ends, the marriage has ended too. For a few lucky ones, the honeymoon lasts years, maybe a lifetime. But for many, reality arrives faster. Here is the fundamental reason marriage is so difficult. Marriage hopes to find unconditional family level love, but it begins with conditions and expectations. Whereas the first family bond that we experience, that of a parent and child, it starts with unconditional love and giving and then slowly introduces expectations. In marriage, this is reversed. You are expected to love a stranger like family. Both spouses enter the marriage wanting something: love, care, safety, intimacy, but have little focus on giving first. Something the majority of parents do naturally for their newborns. This brings in the biggest barrier to unconditional love: ego. When I comes before we, love quietly turns into negotiation. Such is the massive disadvantage a marriage starts with. It is an uphill walk. Naturally, it is difficult. But what if this difficulty isn't a bug in the system, but the design? Now, I am not a relationship coach or therapist, so I'm not going to give you 5 communication hacks or talk about boundaries. Instead, let's take this conversation a little deeper. Instead of asking, how do we fix marriage? What if we asked, could this very difficulty be a vehicle for growth? Not just emotional growth, but growth in consciousness. My wife once joked with me, maybe God made spouses so you can learn to love one human unconditionally before attempting to love the divine. While I laughed at that time, it has since then stayed with me, and it does point to something profound. Across spiritual traditions, there have been examples of marriage going beyond romance and survival to its highest peak: sacred union or yoga. Ramakrishna Paramhansa and Sharda Devi, husband and wife outwardly, divine union inwardly. Shiva and Shakti in human form. Maybe marriage is not just a social contract. Maybe it's a spiritual training ground, and the training is not gentle. Now, most of us are not trying to attain enlightenment through marriage. We are just trying to survive Monday morning without arguing over the dishes. So the question is, can we live through this relationship more consciously, not to become enlightened, but to suffer a little less? Which brings me to our final section. If there is one thing I'd like you to take away from this conversation, it is this: marriage is difficult, and when it hurts, we blame the spouse. But often, the true blame belongs to the very structure of the relationship itself. Most of us marry once, and if we feel unhappy in the marriage, we often think, I married the wrong person. This person ruined my life. The funny thing is, even if we married someone else, there's a chance that the same story would repeat itself. There's a reason this phenomena cuts across races, cultures, and generations. So next time you find marriage difficult or your spouse triggers you, maybe you remember this conversation and suffer a little less. Because it's not you versus your spouse, it's both of you versus the structure of marriage. And that is a very different fight. Thank you for being a part of this series on relationships. In the next episode, we explore another relationship that affects our life so profoundly. And meanwhile, if you'd like us to explore any relationship like parent-child, siblings, boss-employee, let me know in the comments and we'll do a deep dive together. Thank you and see you in the next episode.